Um, so a lot of changes are happening in the technical world, and therefore I think as students the college is really doing a fantastic job in organizing such kind of a workshop called KNU. It is an opportunity to bridge between the academics and the industry, and to get to know how industry is progressing and what kind of technologies would actually be part of your daily lives in the next 3 to 10 years. So with this, probably I would share my screen. Please confirm if you are able to see my screen. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, sir, we can see.
Okay, great. Yeah. So, so in the next 10 minutes, probably I would take you through on how communication is evolving. My focus area at Samsung has been real-time communication. So what do we mean by real time? So typically when you open up your phone, right, you have applications like YouTube, which we call as streaming, which is like one-way content. But when you open any application like your WhatsApp or your phone application, and then you try to make a call, it's a two-way communication. So this two-way communication is what we call as real-time communications. And so in the next 10 minutes, I would be taking you through the journey of how this real-time communication is changing and what would be part of your daily lives in the next 3 to 10 years. And also, I would like to connect with the big picture. There are many buzzwords that you hear like 4G, 5G, IoT, and other things. So I would connect you with those big pictures to tell you how all of these are actually converging for the cause of real-time communication. Okay. So with that, let me get started. So first is a little bit of context. So what is communication, right? So when you do a small Google search, variety of definitions comes out on what is communication. Some think it's an art, while some think it's a science. So in the management, we think it's an art that helps you to understand another person, his emotions and feelings. In technology, we consider it as a science, which will help you to connect to another person who's far away from you. Right? So, being at Samsung, and if you think who is our real competition for communication, is it Apple? Is it Oppo, Vivo? But the real competition actually is togetherness. Right? So, if people are together, then obviously they will not use either messaging or phone calls or video calls. Correct? So that is where probably we are very thankful as an industry, from a real-time communication industry, to COVID. The last 2 years has especially been difficult for people, and they have glued in their homes. And during this time, I think a lot of things happened over this communication backbone, be it studying from home, working from home, or be it entertainment, talking to near and dear ones. So therefore, I think our real competition or our real aspiration is to provide lifelike immersive communication. This is when people would use our real time communication like voice calls, video calls more often. And during the pandemic, people have enjoyed these services, and there have been certain troubles. So in the next few years, we are looking at how to overcome these kind of troubles and take it forward. So mostly, I think all of you are bored of sitting at home and you want to come to colleges. But probably what I would be talking about a technology is more driving into a virtual world. How more digital twins, how more virtual reality and metaverse world, which we call as, is emerging. And so you would see that there is more virtual reality that is coming into picture, and that is what I would cover in the next few slides. So let's see whom are we communicating with and how, right? So humans are generally social animals. They like to communicate with people, and this has been an age-old principle. So people are using audio, video, text to communicate with human. And if you open your phone, as I said, you have two categories of application. One is like YouTube and browsers for it, which is called as streaming and one-way media streaming. Second is your phone calls and messaging, which is bidirectional communication, which we also call as real-time communication. So next, humans are also talking to machines. right? Predominantly, whenever you call up a customer care center, you would go through a bot. The idea is that these bots serve as an instant information retrieval systems. So you are giving an instruction, and this instruction is kind of executed by the bot. Next, machine to machine. Maybe a few years ago, when you bought an equipment in your house, like let's say refrigerator or a microwave oven, the only thing that it needed was electricity. But today, without an internet, these are dumb. So it is so happening that the machines are networking, the machines are connected, and maybe in the next 2 to 3 years, you would see the mobile communication network is filled with more machines, right? So how did this all start? Almost from 2000, the internet era has started, right? So the 3G started in 2000. 4G started almost in 2010. My team at Samsung, we created the world's first Vivo LTE call in 2012 for Korea market. In India, Vivo LTE kind of became popular with geo entry. 4G also became popular with geo entry around 2016. And after that, the digital revolution that we call in India has started, and you are using a lot of applications on your mobile phone, be it for streaming, be it for communication, be it for other purposes like gaming, which was talked about. And life is going on with all these applications. But there is another word that you are hearing these days, which is about 5G, which is coming into picture. If I go to a US situation on a Samsung device, consumers, you could easily get about 1 Gbps of speed. So if you are downloading a movie, it hardly takes around 2 to 3 seconds with a 5G network. Similar 5G phones are available in India, but because of the RF auctions, I think the 5G network rollout would happen only like later part of 2022. So while 5G itself provides a lot of high-speed communication network, parallelly 6G talk is also started. So recently, from Government of India, there is TSDSI, which has set up a India committee for 6G leadership, right? So some of the questions that we will answer in the subsequent slides is that while 5G, 6G as a technology is emerging by almost like 2025, 2030 kind of timeline, will 7G also come? Will this industry keep going? This is some of the questions that we will answer in the next few slides. But when you look at some of the key differences between 5G and 6G, right? So apart from spectral efficiency and environmental sustenance, 5G also from 5G to 6G, there's almost like 1000x bandwidth, 100x bandwidth of change that is coming in, right? So 6G is expected to provide almost 1000 Gbps of bandwidth, which is much higher than what 5G can provide. But is it all required, right? That question still remains. Maybe we'll look at that in the next slide. I hope I am still on connectivity, right? And you're able to hear me.
Yes, sir.
Great. Okay, thank you. So let's see what happened with 4G and 5G connectivity, right? So voice video calls have emerged, and this is what we use daily. Voice call typical bandwidth is just a few kilobits. Like with 30 kbps, I can do a voice call, and today's video call hardly requires around 1 to 2 mbps. But what is happening with your TV is becoming HD, 4K, 8K, these kind of resolutions, high resolution is coming in. So you need more bandwidth. So maybe to do a 8K video call, I would need almost about 10 to 20 Mbps of speed. So one tangent which is increasing with 4G to 5G is the bandwidth. And that is where what you realize is that as the resolution increases from 4K to 8K, the requirement for bandwidth is exponentially increasing. And therefore, 5G to 6G, we are talking about from 10 Gbps to 1000 Gbps. Okay, it's an exponential increase. Second, as I mentioned, chatbots are prevalent. You are using chatbots for basic discussion, but today you have digital assistants like Samsung's Bixby. You also have Google's Assistant and Amazon's Alexa. So the idea is that you give a command and it is able to fetch data to you. Right? How far could it go? this could eventually lead to a robotic surgery where a surgeon is sitting in his, world class hospital and performing a remote surgery on a person in a village. So if such kind of a surgery needs to happen, the most important thing is the latency. So earlier with the chatbot, the latency was about seconds, the response time was about seconds. But now with robotic surgery, it's few milliseconds, like 10 milliseconds or 20 milliseconds. Third, earlier the only users of mobile network was mobile phones. And who use mobile phones? It was generally people like you and me, right? But with the smart meters, IoT, which is coming in, there are tens and thousands of IoT devices which needs connectivity. So therefore, from a capacity point of view, the number of equipments that should be connected to a mobile cell is increasing, right? So when you look at each of these independent tangents, bandwidth, latency, capacity, the existing 4G and 5G networks are sufficient. Maybe for an high bandwidth communication, 5G is necessary. For robotic surgery and smart cities, 5G is necessary. So that's where the 4G, 5G evolution is happening. Okay. But is there more? Because I already introduced 6G and I asked you the question, is 7G also there? Right? So there should be something more to that. So now let us combine two parameters like bandwidth and latency. So what could be a use case? Right? So typically, this kind of a meeting happens in an auditorium where all of us are connected in an auditorium. But because of the pandemic, there are participants from all India and they are connected through Google Meet. Right? So let's say they want to get a 360-degree view of the auditorium, then a bandwidth of almost like 50 to 100 Mbps is necessary, right? With a latency of almost 10 to 20 milliseconds. So I turn my head left or right, which we call as DOF, right? 6 DOF is what is the industry convention, 3 DOF and 6 DOF. So I turn my head left and right, and then I'm able to see the auditorium view, just like my naked eyes would see, right? So I would need a bandwidth almost about maximum, let's say 100 Mbps for this and latency of 20 milliseconds. When I combine latency and capacity, two examples, even in the COVID case, you have seen drones, uh, which are um, which are being used to send materials, correct? So even Amazon is trying to use drones in order to deliver some goods. And what I also understand is that CIT college is on a beautiful highway, very accessible. So just for a moment, imagine that on this highway, instead of cars and trucks, these drones are flying to deliver parcels. And immediately they need, hello? Hello? Can you hear me? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir, we are back now.
Okay. I hope my screen is still visible, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. So these kind of interruptions probably would not be there in 6G, right? So, and these drones, which is flying on your highways, if at all they need a critical instruction for navigation, and assume like this kind of a network glitch happens, right? It would meet into a collision and cause an accident. Therefore, the latency is very important, and even for a V2X vehicle to anything communication, the capacity is very important. So these were the two factors. But if I combine all the three, bandwidth, latency, and capacity, what kind of use cases emerge? I think two popular movies many of you would have seen. One is from Robo, right? Rajnikant's movie of Robo, where you saw Rajnikant come up as a virtual holographic image. Second is the with the very technological movie Star Trek, where these kind of AR VR communication and holographic communications happen. So if I want to create a holographic call and digital twins, as we call, what kind of a bandwidth is needed? So if you imagine that a small palm size image, 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter, that kind of a 3D holographic image, if I need to create, I all with about 16K um, VR resolution, then I need almost about 1 terabits per second bandwidth. So that can only be provided by 6G. But if I want to project Rajnikant himself in live, hello, 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 hello. Can you hear me?
Okay, we can hear you, sir.
Okay, great. Okay. So what I was telling is that with bandwidth, latency, and capacity, a 6G network could create a very miniature hologram, the size of your palm. But if you would need to create a full size hologram, right, you would need 7G. And by the way, why do we I need a hologram like this? Is like, for example, today I was not able to be part of this meeting, but if I could project my hologram, then I would be one among you. I think Pradhana Mantri Modi has also used this in his election campaign. You would have seen a virtual Narendra Modi standing there. So that technology, if it has to come to our bedrooms and living rooms, where we can see our near and dear ones, then probably I need 6G and 7G. So is this all? Is these only three factors, bandwidth, latency, and capacity? There's one more last one, which is about the computation capacity. If I am transmitting this much amount of data in gigabits, right, how much computation capacity? What do I mean by computation? It is your CPUs, GPUs, and NPUs that needs to be packed on a mobile device. So in order to process a hologram, almost about 10,000 gigaflops is necessary, right? And that is where technologies like edge computing is becoming popular. Another paradigm that we at Samsung, which is my core research area, is also given an ML model, how do I split compute it? Some part of it on the mobile, some part of it on the network. So this technology, we call it as split computing, or computation communication. So you would see that in 6G, the devices would become thinner, just like glass, and therefore the computation needs to be offloaded. So edge computing and computation communication is something that will rise in the next 3 4 years. So what does it mean, all these things together, right? So far I talked about a connected experience of AR calls, VR calls, holographic calls. What enables this connected experience is one, the connectivity. So what we know is 4G, 5G, 6G, and also Wi-Fi as a technology. It could be even Bluetooth. So this is one of the pillar. The second pillar is the technology, be it the vision related technologies, AI. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So AI, all these things, AI is definitely an integral part of all these experiences. If I need to transmit 1 Gbps of data, definitely I need some AI related adaptation in the network, right? So this will form the technology pillar. And finally, how would you view this connected experience? Today you're using mobile and you're seeing that new devices like watch, right, is emerging, but you would see more new devices like AR glass which emerges. So it is just like the spectacles that you wear, but you would have a view of what is happening in your complete world. So like this, to create a new connected experience in real time, connectivity, device, and technology is moving together in tandem. So with this, I'm almost at my end of my presentation, and I would want to leave with one thought in your minds. If I summarize all these things, how would our future look like? So today we are using Google Assistant like Siri, sorry, Apple Siri and Google Assistant to ask for some commands to be done. But maybe in another 3 years, you would have a digital assistant. It could be an avatar resembling your favorite personality. It could be a movie hero or heroine coming here and taking your request and serving that. So this is what probably in another 3 to 5 years you would see that technology is able to create. And the only question that I would want to leave you with is, whenever you give any instruction, let's say you want to order a coffee with your virtual assistant, then what will she bring? Will she bring you a virtual coffee or will she bring you a real coffee? Right? So with this, probably I'm coming to the end of my presentation. And I would like to thank CIT College for inviting me here and for organizing such a kind of a wonderful opportunity for all the students to understand what is the technology landscape and how is it emerging. KNU is a wonderful opportunity. Hope you get more insights from this program, and definitely it gives you an opportunity and your own motivation to start research in some of these areas of 5G, 6G, or even holographic communication. And even there are many startups who are coming up with similar kind of technology. You have wonderful professors at your college, so you could take their help and you could think about starting your own startups or getting into research in these kind of activities. With this, I would like to thank CIT College and Dr. Suresh for inviting me here and for giving me this opportunity for being part of this event today. From Samsung side, we also hold a program called Prism, where we are associated with over 3,000 engineering students across India and providing them with technical mentorship on emerging technologies. So if you'd like to know about it, you can log into samsungprism.com. And if you have any questions on this presentation, you can feel free to reach me out at srinidhi.in@samsung.com. Thank you very much.
Hello. Srinidhi sir, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir,
Wonderful to
it
see
was
the
really
students.
very eye-opening, sir. I think you can see the students sitting over here, all
Yeah,
of
yeah.
many of electronics,
Def-
electrical, and all streams. Maybe they
Wow.
have studied these words, bandwidth, latency, and all things in our theory. So
Correct.
maybe by your talk, they have got to know where exactly they are being used and how it is going to get implemented in real world. It was in fact a very good talk from your side, and thanks for giving the insights to our students regarding this 6G, 5G, and upcoming technologies, sir. So I would take this opportunity on behalf of CIT, Suresh sir, Shantala madam, everyone over here. I thank for being present over here and addressing our students. Thank you very much, sir. Definitely, we
Thank
need
you.
your help in future to assist our students regarding the technology outcomes, sir. Thank you.
Definitely. I'll be very much obliged to support CIT in whatever capacity I can, and it was very motivating to see all the students and also Basavaraj sir to be on the platform. He has been inspiration to many people. Thank you for starting such a good college and institute, and thanks to Suresh sir for inviting me here. I think it is a wonderful opportunity to connect to all of you. Thank you so much.
So may I have a big round of applause from your students for speaking here. Thank you, sir. Thank you once again,
Thank you,
sir.
sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, in fact, after many days, we are over to this event with such a beautiful technical aspects. Many of you are wondering what is 5G, 6G, and 7G, whether it will come or not. So, he has given a clear idea of when it is going to come, why it will be coming, what are its advantages, disadvantages. So, let me have some takeaway from these things. Yeah, we shall continue with the events. Anyways, we know that we have the very many sessions to be conducted today and tomorrow. So we'll be continuing the events with the next addressing by the chief guests. So we all know that our society depends upon the way of its life members, our ideas, mentorships, and motivation from each other. We all know this this institution started 20 years before, and from past 20 years, she is with us. Maybe in all the aspects, all the troubles of CIT, she stands always as motivation. Even though in this pandemic, many of you have requested Madam's help, and 24/7 she has helped to our maximum extent. So in fact, we are very much pleased to have Madam as our mentorship. So on behalf of you all now, I would request Dr. Shantaram Madam, Chairman IA Tumkur Local Center, Vice Principal of CIT, to address the gathering. Please, Madam.
Very warm good morning to one and all. It gives me a pleasure to welcome you all for our 18th Knowledge Network workshop. So, without taking much time, because we have so many events coming up, I would like to say one thing. The CIT has always been, since 20 years, we all know that we are here and bringing up this institution at this place. First of all, as we all must be thankful to our chairman and secretary, sir. We put our heart and soul to build this institution. Every day and night, we used to think what best can be possible to